Okay, good afternoon and welcome back. Still nice out, but it's clouding up and getting a little bit scary looking out there. Some of those clouds do not look nice at all, and the breeze is a little bit scary. So we may, after all, get the thunderstorms.
And you can feel the humidity. The humidity's rising too.
Right, kicking up.
We got a little something coming, I guess.
Yeah. I hope it holds off. Just, I don't know, at least until we're settled in for the night, and then it can do whatever. I don't want to be out in that stuff. And to be home to protect the doggies that are going to be absolutely terrified. But thank God my dad will be home and he can protect them because they are a little bit wimpy and don't like this stuff. So a very special guest in the studio with us this afternoon, Pastor Ray has joined us to talk about how can we help our community, and we know that you've been doing that, helping the community for a long time now, through the floods, through all kinds of things, and now once again you've kind of stepped in because you saw a need. And so I'd like you to, I'm going to turn it over. You can introduce yourself and let everybody know who Pastor Ray is.
Thanks, Raylene. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm Pastor Ray Frauman. I'm the pastor at Heading United Methodist Church in Barre, Vermont. I've been here since July of 2019, so it's almost 7 years now. And God, I just love being in this community. I love the church family that I get to work with. I love being in Barre. I think it's a fantastic place to. It's a fantastic place to do ministry. The folks in our church community are doers. We talk every week about how can we be the church in the world. It's not about just sitting in the pews on Sunday morning. In fact, sitting in the pews on Sunday morning should be your recharge, or one of the ways you recharge, so that you're out there doing the work, being the church. So it's been a great pleasure and joy for me to be in Barre and with Heading United Methodist. And yeah, we do a lot. I think most people have heard bits and pieces of some of the different things that we've done over the years. Our Friday night community dinners are very popular, and we get quite a range of people. We certainly get folks who are food insecure, some folks who are living on the street, but we also get folks who are hungry for community also. We often have live musicians. Whoever shows up will play. I'll often be up on stage myself singing and playing my guitar. Food's always good. Fabulous community. We have a great time every Friday night. And then we have our food shelf. Our food shelf is open Wednesdays and Thursdays in the afternoon, and then Friday at the same time as the supper. We have a diaper depot, so for families, which is huge. It started because my outreach coordinator, Phyllis Azate, she had somebody come into her office with an infant on her hip, and the baby hadn't had its diaper changed in 2 days because the mom didn't have the money to get diapers. And that was, I think, 4 years ago now, maybe. And the diaper depot, came into being, and it's entirely stocked by donations. Entirely stocked by donations.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And then families just walk in. Nobody does any paperwork. They just come on in. We give, a package of diapers, package of wipes, whatever size they need, and we've got a bunch of regulars. So Phyllis also does financial assistance, so folks who need help with utility bills, help with rent, help with mortgage. We try to give a little extra bump to folks who are just need that one extra edge to get over, so that they can get the bills paid for the month, keep the electric on, whatever it is.
Can people make donations to that fund?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. In fact, if you go on our website, which is headingchurch.org, there's a donation link there, and you can make donations to the general church budget. You can also make donations to our outreach ministries and food ministries and stuff. So yeah, anybody can go on.
And you can drop off diapers.
You can drop off diapers. We're open Tuesdays through Fridays, generally from 9 to 3. Little bit of leeway on either side of it, but generally from 9 to 3. And yeah, if you want to drop off a package of diapers, people want to drop off food donations, Absolutely. In fact, we also take toiletries. We're the only food shelf in Washington County that gives out toiletries. And you can't use your EBT cards to get toiletries at the grocery store. So we do have some toiletries as well.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And, you know, things have really changed. Churches aren't open on just Sundays anymore. You all are open for so many things. Churches, I mean, not that it's always been just Sunday, but Sunday was when the big day was.
Yeah.
And you all have many big days. I've heard great things about the Friday night, the meal, and then the, you all I think it's at Heading that does the Friday night dinner, and then they have the group, right?
We have a recovery group that meets right after dinner. Yep.
That meets right after dinner.
Yep.
Not a lot of churches do that, and that's absolutely amazing. That's something that we need more of.
Yeah. Well, and I will say that, you know, the churches in our area have absolutely stepped up, and I mean, we've collaborated with the other churches as well. The UCC Church, Barry Congregational, they have Laundry Love, so if people need to get their laundry done, they can go a couple times a month. They can
and they also hold meetings.
Yep, they hold and they hold some recovery meetings. I think Good Shepherd hold recovery meetings. They have a free meal downstairs. I think the UCC Church also has I think they do a Saturday morning breakfast. I know Enough Ministries next to us does a lot. I mean, all the churches in our area have stepped up and done things in tremendous ways. And I know that we were pretty, you know, in the public sphere during the 2023 flooding. You know, it hit our town. I mean, if you were here then, you know. I mean,
I was working for the city then.
Underwater.
Yeah.
And we were really by several inches above the floodplain, right? And so we ended up becoming the hub for our denomination in Vermont. And so we brought in, or they sent to us,
the cleaning buckets.
All those cleaning buckets. We got 1,800 cleaning buckets sent to us, and almost all of those got distributed within the first month. And the ones that were left over are now in different churches around the state in the event that, well,
we need it.
July 10th is coming again. God help us.
Right.
Please, not again on July 10th.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, so these, you know, those kinds of supplies and more, you know, we were able to help out in a lot of different ways during that flood recovery time. So.
And since the flood, you all have been there in many other different ways. There's been a lot of stuff that has happened in the communities, a lot of stuff going on, and you all show great support for many people every day. And I'd like to touch on that. I mean, how can we help our community? How can we each help each other? And what if you don't believe? What if you don't have a faith? You know, how does that all work?
Sure. I mean, first of all, when it comes to faith and your faith, I don't have a theological litmus test at Heading. If you're, you know, what somebody says they believe is not as important as how they put that into action. What we're doing for our neighbor, that is showing what our faith is about. And if you're looking for community and you're not entirely sure what you believe, you're always welcome at Heading. We're not, I mean, and yeah, I preach on the Christian scriptures, the Hebrew scriptures. I certainly talk a lot about Jesus, but that doesn't mean, you know, you coming to the church, you have to believe exactly what I say. I mean, folks, we will disagree. I'll tell people, you know, you don't have to agree 100% with me. In fact, if you do, I don't agree 100% with me every day. I argue with myself, right? I mean, don't take my word as the ultimate authority. We wrestle. We wrestle with it. And so we wrestle together, and so everybody is welcome. But in terms of, you know, what can we do in our community? Oh my God, there's so many things. And I often say, you know, if everybody did their part, what would our world look like? How amazing would our world look if every single person did their part? We've got a lot of people who are, boy, they work so hard to do all the things. And I'm often trying to say, okay, you also got to take care of yourself, right? That is important. I use the lifeguard metaphor. If you can't save yourself out there, don't go out trying to save somebody else, because they'll drag you, they'll drag you under too.
Right.
Anybody who's been trained as a lifeguard knows you got to be able to get yourself back out of the water. But if we all do our part, and it can be as simple as treat the person at the register with some respect.
Right.
I mean, don't give them a hard time. Be kind to the person who's in the next office from you. Show respect, show curiosity. You don't have to understand it all to give somebody respect, right? It's as simple as saying, hey, I see you, you're another human being.
Ask a question once in a
question.
while.
Yeah,
Shake somebody's hand, open a door, whatever.
For us, as Methodists, our tradition talks about going on to perfection, and by perfection we mean being perfected in love. That we would grow to love the way God loves. And that means seeing every single person as God is in that person, right? And when Jesus talks about whatever you did for the least of these, you did to me, every single person we meet, how we treat them is how we treat God. And so part of that perfecting in love is learning how to love our neighbors. And that doesn't just mean the ones who are bright and shiny and cheerful all the time. That means the ones that are grumbly and curmudgeonly and stinky and cranky and sometimes give other people a hard time. How can we be compassionate to them, right? What's the pain that person is feeling? That's what I'd love people to start with. When someone comes at you or you see something, rather than judging, start with, I wonder what pain might be underneath that. I bet they're wearing a mask. I bet the thing that I'm seeing, that gruff exterior, I bet that's a mask. I bet there is. There always is. There's pain underneath there. I mean, we're gonna talk some about bullying, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bullies lash out from a place of pain. That's where bullying starts. It starts with their pain.
Right, you're hiding your own stuff.
Yeah, so you're lashing out at somebody else, right? How can we find compassion for everybody? And if a bully could find some compassion for themselves, I bet they'd stop bullying, right? If we could wrap around the folks who are causing pain, maybe there'd be less pain in the world. A little less pain.
And like you said, sometimes that it's difficult because of how they come at you. And none of us are going to go about it the same way, and none of us are going to how I feel that I am kind others may not see the way I'm kind. They may think that I'm a very unkind person. And I think that happens as well. And it makes things difficult. We don't all do things the same way. It doesn't mean that we love any less necessarily. It just means we love differently and in our own way. That doesn't mean we have to be closed-minded to any other ways in the world. And like you said,
absolutely.
we have to be able to be willing to learn from everyone and see what's underneath. Yeah, for sure.
Wouldn't that be an amazing world? Wouldn't that be an amazing community?
Yeah.
I would love to see more love and less vitriol in general, right? We stop bashing each other.
And I truly believe that we all would. I mean, even the grumpiest of grumps, I truly believe that we all would love to see less.
Oh my gosh.
We just, but we all want to be right as well. And so, the gentleman that we just did a podcast with, Rick Coyne, at noon, he says you can be right or you can be happy. It's true. You can be right or you can be happy, and that's a real fine line sometimes.
You can also be right, or you can be loving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you could, it's healthy to doubt ourselves. That humility makes a huge difference in our interactions with one another. We may disagree on things, but if I can come humbly to the conversation, maybe we can both learn something. Whereas if I start on the attack, neither of us are going to learn anything, and we're just going to have a broken relationship. And we're going through a very, very challenging time. A very challenging time. Our country is more divided than it has been probably in a century and a half. And that impacts every single level of our society. And for maybe for forever, but certainly in the last 50 years, our youth have been the ones who, we talk about it a little bit in like family systems therapy stuff, they're the symptom bearers.
Yeah.
When the anxiety in the system is so heightened, so broken, our young people are the ones where we're going to see it the most. And we currently have the highest levels of depression and anxiety in our youth than we have perhaps ever seen. And a lot of that has to do with all of the fighting that the adults are doing. If all you see every day are adults fighting with one another, or you see adults who are condemning, one group or another group, and you're not seeing love, you're not seeing people willing to work together to make things better. I mean, the young folk are so vulnerable.
And it is hard. And I'll be the first to admit it. I don't always react in the best of ways. I react quickly, and only recently have I said, okay, I have to wait a minute to react, maybe a whole day, maybe 2 days, whatever, and then I can react. But if I react immediately, then I'm going to react defensively.
Right.
It's just my instinct.
Sure.
It's the way I have survived the majority of my life. Being tough about everything, and not, I'm not going to put up with anybody's crap kind of thing. That kind of, that's where I was at with things. But now that Jeff and I are in a relationship, and there's grandchildren involved, and I have to really be mindful of that they're watching, and they'll hear, and they'll see, and so how I address things and deal with things needs to be different.
Right, totally. Quick to listen, slow to anger, slow to speak.
Yeah, and that's easier said than done.
It's a practice.
So unfortunately, he's going to get the brunt of it, because then I'm going to have to crab out loud to him. I would have until I get myself to a calm place where I can react to it otherwise. But it's hard.
It is.
It's hard, and it's certainly not something that we grew to do. I don't think necessarily we didn't grow to do. And even how we deal with bullying, we talked about that earlier. I remember bullying when I was in school, but nothing to the scale it is now. And I don't know if we dealt with it differently, if there's just more of it now because there's social media and there's more access to
there's
harm
also a lot
someone.
more awareness.
Yeah, and there's a lot more awareness. And so, it's so different from when we were kids. I would give anything for the grandkids to have the life that we had, and you could stay out until the lights came on, and your life was so much more free than it is now.
Well, it was for some of us.
Yeah,
it definitely was for some of us. Others, depended on where you lived.
Where you grew up.
Depends on where you grew up. It depends on what the color of your skin was. It depends upon. I mean, there's a lot of factors,
and
right?
And all of that stuff I think was in a part of our life too. It was just not. It was not as recognized because we didn't have all of the outlets to recognize it.
Yeah, like social media just exploded, and everybody knew everything. It was you couldn't have a discussion like back and forth. It automatically turned into an argument.
Right. Yeah. I mean, social media is so incredibly toxic because you're on you feel like you're anonymous on the other side of a screen and the message board, right? And you can write anything you want. I mean, these are still humans. You're still interacting with humans. You are causing pain, quite likely, depending upon what you're saying, to another human being. We got to stop thinking that that our words don't matter as much. They do. If you wouldn't say it to somebody's face, don't type it on a keyboard.
Right.
That's
right.
not
And that is kind of where we've gotten, is that the human interaction is so much less, especially since COVID. I feel like and I truly thought we were going to learn a ton from COVID. I thought that we would learn how important each other we are to each other, and how much we missed each other, and I truly had this like la la dreamland belief that even families would mend, and relationships, because you get to spend more quality time together, and in reality that isn't what happened at all. We saw domestic violence go up and substance use disorder go up. We saw incredible crazy things,
Totally.
even things like farms closing because yes, did we really recognize the importance of them and the small gardens and farms and different things like no.
Right.
When we should have learned a lot, we seem to have learned little. It's it's crazy sometimes to think about, but
it's challenging. It makes me sad, the direction that we've been going in. It seems our world, where there's more hatred and less love, there's more divisiveness and less understanding, there's more finger pointing and blame, and less coming together to have good conversations. And it plays itself out in the world, and it causes great damage. It's caused such great damage.
So let's talk about these signs.
Let's
that
talk about these signs.
you went down or called or went down to Yipes and spoke with Val, and we're seeing them popping up all over.
Good.
And
That's awesome.
Can you tell us about those and what?
Yeah. So on Thursday, I was told about that a young person had taken their life, a seventh grader in our schools. I didn't know any details. I just know that a seventh grader had lost their life to suicide.
And that's all we need to know.
That's all we need to know.
Shouldn't have happened.
And and I sat with that, and I talked to some folks at the church about it. And Friday morning I woke up. I was like, you know what, this is what we're going to do. And I started like just kind of collecting a few sayings. What are some things that folks need to hear? Simple things. You matter. Don't give up. You're worthy of love. Just these simple things that you can tell somebody, that costs nobody anything, right? Just to let somebody know, you matter to me, right? I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're part of my community. But then also some helplines. Folks don't necessarily know who to reach out to.
Yep.
If they're going through a really hard time. And so putting out there with some QR codes and phone number, and our youth will text. They will text well before they will call anybody ever.
Yes,
and so
true.
making
even
sure
from
that,
the other room.
100%. Yes. So making sure that the Trevor Project with the text for that. And that's, the Trevor Project has been specifically for LGBTQ youth, because there's been, and talk about bullying, there's just been so much bullying of those of us in the LGBTQ community forever. And again, not knowing anything about the young person who took their life, I know there's a high probability that they're part of the LGBTQ community. Again, I do not know, because I still don't know anything about the young person who took their life. All I know is that folks who are part of the LGBTQ community almost all of us have experienced bullying at some point in time. For me, I grew up, I was born a girl, and mom put me in dresses until I was about 3 years old, and then I said no, and I resisted that from that time on. And by the time I was in 5th grade, I was asking my friends to call me Ray. I was insisting that I got to sing in the boys' part with the 5th grade music class. Not that they're any different. You can look back and it's like they all have exactly the same voice, but it was important to me. And I got bullied terribly. I got bullied so bad that my parents had to pull me out of public school for a year. And I had never heard of the term transgender. I didn't hear that term until I was in my late 20s. I'd never seen anybody in the media who was like me. I didn't know anything, right? I hear folks, now talking about, oh, they're going to, the agenda, whatever. We're not trying to turn anybody's kids gay or trans. We're trying to keep them alive. I want them to stay alive. One of the things I love about social media is not all great. I think a lot of it is very toxic, but at least kids see representation. Say, oh, that's somebody who's like me. I wish I'd had that when I was a kid. I was utterly alone going through that. And so were most of my peers who had that same struggle. The only evidence that we saw of it was in movies like Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, where
Right.
it becomes the butt of a joke.
Yeah.
And that everybody's throwing up at even the idea, right? Those were the things that we saw. Well, how can we change that, right? How do we change that? And it's not, again, I don't know anything about the particular kid, but I know the pain of being bullied, right? I know that pain. And I also know the pain of depression and anxiety. I've wrestled with depression and anxiety all of my life. It started when I was an adolescent. I've been in therapy. I've been, I have medication to help me deal with it. I exercise. I, make sure that I have downtime. I take very careful care of my mental state because I have always dealt with depression and anxiety. And I've got a kid who has dealt with tremendous depression and suicidality. I almost lost her a number of times, but especially at the beginning of the pandemic. That was their senior year. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying. I can't fathom. So
And
for
again,
me, it's
that happened
very,
to a
very
lot
personal.
of kids, a lot of not just
Yeah.
kids, but people. The pandemic was very hard on a lot of people,
So
and
painful.
and we lost a couple of youth during that time. One in particular, Stephen Tracy. We lost him. There's his parents, his mother, Brandy, is just an amazing lady who has, started a scholarship and has done so much to bring awareness and to the same thing, the depression and the mental illness,
gotta
but
take it
also just the
seriously.
bullying. What it was about. And it didn't matter whether you could be heavy, you could be too thin, you could be, a certain race, religion. It doesn't matter.
Totally.
If one person decides that it's not okay and they have just a few people follow, and then we
They
have
can
the
make
keyboard.
somebody's life miserable.
Yeah, then we have the keyboard. That's all it takes, and it
Totally.
it spreads a lot more quickly than
Yeah.
it ever did as well. And
Absolutely.
it makes it hard.
It does. It's so brutal. It's so painful.
And you said some stats before we started.
Yeah.
What were the?
Well,
It's one in.
part of the reason I want to speak to the LGBTQ community is one of the Trevor Project does surveys, and 1 out of 10 kids who are in the LGBTQ community attempted suicide last year. That's 1 in 10 kids. And this is one of the reasons we need representation in our world so that kids see, it does get better. That's the tagline for the Trevor Project. It does get better. It really does. It was hard when I was in 5th grade, man. It sucked. But it gets better. It gets a lot better. It gets so much better. And I want to say to any kid out there who's struggling, listen, I promise, I know it's hard now. Regardless of how you're identifying in the world. And you're right, it doesn't matter. It's how you look. It doesn't matter who you love. It doesn't matter what it is. Someone's picking on you. Trust me, it will get better. I know it feels so overwhelming right now. It's going to get better. Just hang on. Reach out for help. Know that there's loads of us in the community who want to help. Loads of us. Come talk to somebody. And that goes for adults also, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You mean,
I mean, we speak of it about veterans all the time.
Absolutely.
And how vulnerable they are.
the PTSD that's coming out of that, 100%. Hang on, talk to somebody, get some help. You
And
don't have to go through it
there
alone.
are a ton of resources.
So many.
But we don't always all know them, which, you know, I've always been somebody who knew what 211 was and used 211 for like so many things. But I'm also someone who has said, call 211 and have a lot of people say to me, what is that?
Right, sure.
It always surprises me. But for me, that's my go-to. When I'm in doubt of who to call, how to find a resource,
Totally.
That's who I call.
211 is great.
And then they've given you, they have all the information there that you could possibly ever want.
Right.
If you need a resource for anything, that's what you do.
They can help you find it, for sure.
And then we know 988 for suicide.
Right.
But there are others.
Absolutely. I mean, here we have Washington County Mental Health right here, and there's a crisis line. You know, there are other local entities. There's statewide entities. There's national entities, right? I mean, there are so many different ways that you can find. There are resources out there.
Yeah.
There are, and talk to your doctor. I mean, you don't have to just talk to your doctor. Tell your doctor that you're wrestling with depression or you're dealing with anxiety. You're amazed the resources that your doctor will have.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're not ready to have that conversation, that's been even made easy, like everything else. Now you can get on your portal and send an email. You can put it in writing if you're not somebody that can. You know, feels comfortable sitting in the doctor's office and explaining all of this stuff to your doctor, because it's intimidating to tell even your doctor or somebody. Maybe you've seen them for 30 years, maybe you've only seen them for the last 6 months because they continuously change lately. But it's tough sometimes to admit or to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so there are so many ways that can be done now.
Yeah, that's true.
Tip lines and texting and emails and hotlines. There's the domestic violence line through Circle. There's, the Turning Point Center where Kristen is. They are at the ER now, or ED, they call it now.
Yeah.
There are people and resources everywhere.
There really are.
And people could reach out to the churches.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're here too. Though I will say, churches, pastors, we are trained to refer people. I'm not a trained psychiatrist at all, right? I'm not a licensed therapist, right? So I will absolutely meet with people, and then I will try to make sure that person is getting into, the therapy that they need or the medical work that they need. Absolutely, absolutely. Because we can be there to a certain extent, but we know we're trained to make sure that we tell people, I'm not a therapist.
Yeah.
I can be here for you. I'm going to listen. 100%. I'm right here. I want to make sure that you're getting the medical help that you need. I want to make sure that you're getting the professional therapy that you need. Because those are the two pieces, and then maybe I can help you even more. But you've got to have those pieces. And I'm happy to help people, find ways to get to those places. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, one of the things that I hear from folks, especially people who, I don't know, you look at people and it looks like they've got it all together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They'll tell me stuff. It's like, I'm so embarrassed that I'm dealing with this. Oh my God, don't be. You're not alone. I'm a professional. I've got a master's degree. I mean, I have been dealing with depression and anxiety all of my adult life. I am on several medications. There is nothing to be embarrassed by, and you are so not alone. Women, or people who were born female, if you are going through perimenopause, the meds that you were taking before might not work well now. Talk to your doctor about it. I know I went through that. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal. You're not alone. If you are wondering if it's worth getting up in the morning, you're not the only one. Get out of bed, reach out, send a text. Don't get out of bed if you can't. Send a text to somebody. Text somebody and say, I can't do this anymore. Help. Help. there are people who are going to help. And
Absolutely.
don't feel like you're the only one going through it, please, because you're not, no matter how old you are.
And we say that about everything, and it's funny how sometimes, you know, what we're willing to talk about and what we're not, when it's all illness, whether you have cancer or diabetes or
Yep.
you know, thyroid disease, you know, whatever. It's all a disease,
Right.
and
That's exactly
just
right.
different medications,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's all a disease,
Yep.
and it's treatable.
Right. I mean, if you're living in Vermont, we often have a deficit of vitamin D, right? Anybody else have a deficit of vitamin D living in Vermont? We're a little
Yeah.
gray state, right?
Yeah.
We're all
For
excited
sure.
when the sun comes in. So we take vitamin D supplements, right? If you have a deficit of serotonin, if you've got a deficit of the chemicals in your brain that you need in order to function, you just need some supplements, man.
Yeah.
And doctors will help you with that.
Yeah.
Right? It's a supplement. Now, it's a medicated supplement. Let's be fair. You can get vitamin D over the counter.
Right.
You're
right.
not. Don't go for the over the counter, or your friend said, "Hey, try this thing." Please talk to your doctor.
Right, right. Do it that way. Right, exactly.
Please talk to your
Please
doctor.
talk to your doctor. That's right. You know, no self-medicating.
No, don't self-medicate. Well, and to that point,
Within reason. But yeah.
self-medicating. When we talk about folks who have addictions, how many of them are self-medicating?
Right, the majority. For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
You got started because you couldn't deal with some of the emotional
Right.
stuff you were going through. And so it somehow was less embarrassing to try taking a drug that your friend had than it was to talk to your doctor that this felt really crummy. Let me tell you something, my friends. It's going to be a lot more embarrassing later if you get stuck on that track and you can't get out of it.
Right. Or even stigmas. I really think
Absolutely.
that, you know, I grew up in a time when if things happened in life, you didn't talk about it.
Right. Right.
You
Sure.
you moved on. But what happened under the roof stayed under the roof.
Right.
It didn't go anywhere else, and
Totally.
it was you would actually be punished, or it was a really big deal if
Absolutely.
you spoke about anything.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons.
sort.
That's one of the reasons we didn't know as much as we do about bullying.
Right.
Right? Like that's because so many of those things stayed under the roof. So we didn't have
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah, you didn't talk about that stuff.
Don't talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
We don't talk about
Right.
that here. Right?
And
Yeah, so
then
stuff that down.
I think too with, like, you know, men. I know my sons went through it with their dad. They, you know, don't be a Sally.
Sure.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
Don't cry. You don't
Walk it off,
Yeah,
you
knock
know,
it
whatever.
off. You know, smack you in the back of the head. Get over it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were just, that was really driven home.
We train up
to
boys
them.
not to have emotions.
Yeah, do not.
Except for anger.
Right.
Anger
that
is
was okay.
anger is
That
a
was
perfectly
okay.
and so boys
Right.
get trained that the only emotion they're allowed to have is anger or happiness.
Yeah.
Everything else has to go through those two emotions.
Right.
So they're sad, they get angry.
Yep.
They're depressed, they get angry. Right? I mean, this is why we have so much toxic masculinity, is because people they haven't been allowed to express emotions.
Right. Right.
And then it doubles down on itself by continuing the generational cycle.
Right. And it does. It really does. It
Absolutely.
just makes things harder. And
Yeah.
you know, I see it with my sons. I see them struggle to say when anything is wrong, but even medically. I mean, you know, my oldest was really suffering badly with a hernia. It ruptured. I mean, he was toxic. It was a horrible, horrible event that happened, all because he wouldn't admit that he had pain.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm just going to keep choking down the Tylenol and hope it's fine. And here he is, a dairy farmer. You know, he's out there.
Lord, he
working,
needs his
working,
body.
work. Yeah, and, you know,
Take care of the body that is doing the work.
but he truly, like, he would not say that out loud for
Right.
anything.
Sure.
And it could have killed him.
Right. Yep.
And
Absolutely.
it just didn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah.
still better than admitting defeat and admitting that you couldn't take the pain anymore, or that something made you sad or hurt or angry or whatever.
Right.
It's you know, we expect too much of each other sometimes.
I hear from so many people, I should be able to handle this. I should be able to handle this. I shouldn't need help. I should be able to handle this. I'm embarrassed that I can't handle this.
I say that to myself all the time. I should be able to deal with this.
This is not how humans evolved. We are from species that were tribal, that were clans, we are an interdependent species. We absolutely need one another. And we're so isolated, especially in our culture, especially American culture. We're a very isolated culture. And many other cultures around the world, I mean, you're living with intergenerational, you have villages that we are so isolated as Americans that we don't think it's healthy or normal to reach out for help. And I've got to be able to do it all on my own. I'm a young parent. I should be able to parent my children all by myself in the quiet of my home. Do you realize that never before in history did a mom and dad have to raise their children by themselves?
No,
this is not how we work.
No, really,
if you think it's hard, it is.
It is. in reality, if you years ago, it was nothing for all of the women to kind of raise the kids
passed
together.
babies around.
Yeah, you did.
Sure.
In when when the neighbor's barn burned, you all came out.
Right.
The men worked and the children played and everybody cooked together, and it was just this one big happy community.
When I was growing up, I was a free-range kid, and it was like zone parenting. Whoever's house you were near, they were in charge, and if you did wrong, you were going to hear about it.
That's right. Exactly.
Or if you got hurt, you were going to get taken care of. Right? There was going to be somebody there for you.
Yeah. That's what I grew up in.
Right.
A neighborhood with like 30 kids in it.
Yeah.
And everybody's parents knew you.
You knew it, right?
And if you fell down
And you were
and
known.
skinned your knee,
Yeah.
and you were in front of Mr. Jones' house, Mrs. Jones come out and say, "Well, come up here and I'll wash it off and put a bandage on
Take
it."
care of you. Take care of you.
Yeah.
There's so little of that left.
Yeah.
It really is.
And
But how do we get so afraid of each other? That's the part that I don't understand, I guess. How is it that we ended up so afraid of each other that we are unwilling to even say something like I fell down and skunned my knee and I need so-and-so's. But that's how I feel about it. I feel like we really ended up afraid of each other in a way. And
absolutely.
A woman or man or anybody, a child, hitchhikers, or somebody broken down beside the road, or you don't stop for them anymore. You just keep driving by.
We have been taught to fear one another. We have been taught to fear people who are different than us. We've been taught to fear anybody who is a stranger. In many cultures around the world, hospitality is a sacred trust. If a stranger comes to your door and they need help, you help them. That is your sacred responsibility. And I'm not just talking within religion, I'm talking within culture. You took care of the stranger. I mean, we have it in our Hebrew scriptures all the time. You take care of the stranger in the land. That is your sacred responsibility. We've lost all of that.
Yeah, we really
Even our
have.
religion has become isolated. American Christianity is different than Christianity in every other part of the world. American Christianity talks more about personal salvation than we do about communal salvation. And salvation itself is misunderstood. Salvation is healing. Salvation is the wholeness, right? We talk about holy. Holy and wholeness come from the same root. We are such an isolated culture that even our religion has us isolating from one another. And there's so much healing that needs to happen around that. And I don't know exactly where to begin, except that I know it has to start in communities. Because you can't just teach it, you have to live it.
Yeah.
And that's something that communities can do. We can learn to talk to one another again, rather than just being, in our own isolated silos or listening to our own echo chamber, or whatever it is. It doesn't need to be, this is my team, this is your team. What are our shared values? right?
And maybe too many of us got away from church.
Or communities in general.
Yeah.
If you come back to church, go back to synagogue, go to your Islamic center and find community, or participate in the Elks Lodge, participate in different places that help build especially intentional intergenerational community. We miss a lot of intergenerational community. It is one of the things that that churches and other religious institutions have that other community centers don't, is we have intergenerational community where you have extra aunts and uncles and grandparents around for the kids that you're trying to raise, so you don't feel like you're isolated all the time. All of these pieces are just so crucial. And again, to get back to the child who had so much despair last week that they could not handle living another day. What would a community that is healthy and whole and interdependent and loving look like to support children who are at their wits' end and don't know how to go through even one more day? What can we do to rebuild communities so that we're really supporting one another? I mean, we don't even support our schools. How can we ask our school? We have such a high turnover rate in our school district because we're voting down budgets year after year after year, and we don't have we don't have the money to replace, the folks who we've lost, and there's no continuity. So this kid may have had, a whole pile of different teachers and staff members over the years. You have one turnover, they're going to get lost in the cracks. But we don't support that anymore because we don't think about our school as being our community responsibility. We think, oh, well, my kid's not going there, or I don't have kids anymore, or I never had kids. Why should I? Well, because if you want the next generation to be part of our world in a way that is positive, you have to support your schools.
Yeah.
That is where your community is nurtured for the future. And we don't do that in Barre. It is, and I want to be very clear that this is not a direct correlation, but it is notable that the second time our school budget failed, it was the next day that we lost a 7th grader. It is notable. My friends, we can't go on like this in our community and not support our young people. Imagine if we had had somebody at that school who could keep an eye on all of the different kids and what they're going through and not be so overburdened themselves because there's not enough other staff members to help keep track of kids. Imagine what a difference it could make. We talk about no bullying. It's got to start with not bullying one another. It's got to start by giving the resources and not tearing down our teachers who are taking care of these kids. It's got to start there. We're the adults in the room, right? How are we taking care of our community?
And we've put a lot on them.
Than our schools.
Yeah, and we've put a lot on them. I think over the years, because parents are so overwhelmed and aren't seeking help either, they aren't reaching out. We're not doing community parenting like we had when we were kids.
Sure.
That a lot kind of falls on the students and the school to kind of not only teach but to parent, and we're asking them to do a whole lot that I don't think they had to do when we were in school either.
No. And classroom management.
Our teacher said, "I'm going to call your parent," and we feared that greatly. Like we did not want that happening, and we had a lot more guidance counselors and resource center. We had Billy Ward, who was a substance use counselor. That it was very specific for that. Things were, I think that we had a lot more than what we realized. I guess.
Absolutely.
Then now it seems like we have a lot, but we.
Well, it depends on where you are.
Right. Exactly.
My kids went through the Burlington school districts. We lived in Burlington for 15 years before I came here, and I actually commuted for my first 3 years of ministry so my kids could finish high school. The middle school counselor who took care of my oldest, and I wish I could remember her name right now because I'd give her a shout out. She was wonderful. If it hadn't been for that school counselor, I might have lost my kid. If it hadn't been for the team of teachers that my kid had in middle school who could see the struggle, I went in for a parent-teacher conference and talked to them, and they could hear me talk to them about the fact that my kid was dealing with suicidality. How can we team up together? What can we do together, right? I don't see the Barre School District having those kinds of resources.
No.
I think our school district is, and it's no surprise given how often we vote down the budget. I think I saw I really have tried to stay off social media, but I saw some comment, well, maybe if we keep voting it down, somebody will finally wake up and change it. You can't change it if you don't have the resources to change it.
Right.
That doesn't work. It can't work like that, people. It'll change, it'll just keep getting worse.
Yeah.
They need the resources. And I know everybody's struggling right now. And I know folks look at their taxes and go, I can't handle one more penny. God, I get it.
And then they hit another pothole and blow another tire.
I know. It's hard. But my friends, if we don't support our schools, we haven't got a future. We haven't got a future. We talk about that in the church too. This has been a conversation for the last quarter of a century. You don't have kids, you don't have a future of a church, right? We've been talking about that for a long time. It is true in the church, it is true in our communities.
Yeah.
Our families will move away, right? If they can.
Right.
Many of them
And
can't.
we see that happening as well.
It seems like back when we had, the individual elementary schools throughout the city, kids felt safer in there because
Maybe.
they knew.
Yeah,
they knew everybody sitting next to them. Then you get into the bigger school, and you got kids from the north end now with kids from the south end that probably have never seen each other before, and you're throwing them together, and it's overwhelming.
You know. And I haven't been around long enough in Barre to know all the ins and outs. I know that there's still fighting, and stuff about unified, this, that, and the other thing. I say, okay, well, figure out. This is what we've got right now.
Right.
How are we going to make this better? Because we can't necessarily go back.
Right.
We don't have the
We
resources.
can't go back.
If we can't afford one school, we sure as hell can't afford, we sure as heck can't afford several schools. Here's the pastor is apologizing for my language.
Wash your mouth out with soap tonight.
Guys, I swear sometimes.
Yeah.
And now
You're human?
I am. It's true.
and there's been a plan that's been kicked around a few times about, okay, so these kids, there's Barrytown kids in one school, there's Barre City kids in another two. They go to the same high school.
Right. Yep.
And so they keep shooting down this idea of, let's put, Barrytown, Barre City, 7th and 8th graders in one school. We have the lower grades in this school. And then they at least get that commingling. So they do more, they know more kids than
We all
they
have
did
the
coming out
same
of one school.
zip code, essentially. We all are
all the same. It's all-
05641 is Barre.
Yeah. But anyway, support your schools.
Absolutely.
For the love of God, support your schools
and
because it
each
supports our
other.
kids.
And so, it's
I want to see, you tell me, how many negative comments you get after this on
I
my
will.
comments about the schools being supported.
I will.
Because I'll bet you there are a pile of people out there who's at their keepers going,
Yep. If they're not now,
who
they
is this
will
pastor
later.
who thinks that they have an opinion about our school district?
Yeah.
Come on,
Wow,
guys.
that was a typewriter.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm aging myself. That was terrible.
Yeah. But no, it's
I gotta
true.
write an angry letter.
It's
Ching.
true. Yeah. It's true, though. It's so true.
Guys, get over yourselves. Don't.
Yeah.
This is something that I remind myself of with some frequency and around our church. Don't take yourself so damn seriously. Chill out.
Yeah.
Don't take yourself so damn seriously. You're right. You don't have to be right. Being right is not more important than being loving.
Yeah.
Love one another. It's so easy. Relatively speaking. It's easier ultimately than just being angry with one another all the time. And it feels so much better.
Ultimately, you end up more calm yourself and not even like when there was a couple of instances this week where I really had to take a deep breath because my instant reaction would have been not what it was. in the end, it was better that I did. Even I felt better. Like I felt better. I didn't feel as stressed. I didn't feel as angry. I didn't, and because then I get angry at myself for being angry. Like I get angry for being a jerk, and I say, you know, I don't like that I acted that way, or I beat myself up over it. I don't necessarily, you know, want other people.
None of those things are going to help you, by the way.
Right.
You got to get the anger out of your system.
Exactly.
I go for a run.
I do that when I'm driving. Ask him.
Don't don't get it out of your system while driving either.
Not with the gas pedal, but I just talk the whole time.
Oh, okay. You're like, yeah.
Yes,
like,
yes, the gas pedal.
Insane.
That's why they put those handles up there.
Yeah. We have a name for that. I won't say it on TV.
I see that nice stuff, you know, whatever. But that's where I get it all out. And he should be grateful that that's where I get it all out. But anyways.
No, we do need to get the anger out of our system, and there's a lot of anger right now. There's a lot of anger in our world right now. We got to find healthy ways to get the anger out of our system. Punch a pillow, yell, scream into the void, right? Whatever it takes, but don't take it out on somebody else.
Yeah.
All of our emotions are valid. It is not okay to take our emotions out on our neighbor.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
No.
Your emotions are valid. Don't take them out on the next person.
So we have to go because we have to go to a retirement party. I loved having you. I would love to have you again and again
Absolutely.
and again.
Just
I
let me
could
know.
talk to you for hours and hours.
It's great to meet you.
You know, it's just always great to see you. I've only got to meet you a couple of times, and it's always been a great thing.
Well,
great experience.
This has been a joy. So let me know when I can.
I really appreciate
come
it.
back and chat some more at you and with you.
Absolutely, and we'll let everybody know that we are going to have an anti-bullying rally. We're going to be having that on June 15th from 5:30 to 7:30 in Courier Park, and we want everyone to come, young, old. No matter your age, we're going to have some resources there. We're going to have some people talking about their stories.
Yeah.
We'll have the signs and some other things. Bob Nelson has donated a big, huge canvas for us to write kind words on. We're hoping that maybe can hang in some of the school cafeterias, gyms, and swap it out, trade it, you know, send it to different schools, and people can continue to add to it. And
I just realized I never answered your question before about finishing the signs. It came to me in the morning, and I got in touch with Yipes, and they had them ready by the afternoon.
They're amazing.
I just want to say they were amazing.
Yeah.
They were
They're
awesome.
amazing.
So I want to say a huge thank you to them.
Yes.
They were all hands on deck. They used every single machine to get us the signs that we initially had around here, and now we have a whole pile more. So I just wanted to say thank you to them.
And I've seen that people are asking, like, can I have a couple of this one or that one? And a lot more people are asking to have those. And so it just goes to show you, like, you started this thing, and now it's kind of like the Vermont Strong Plates. They're going to be everywhere.
Awesome.
And that's
How
a great
awesome.
thing, right?
Because everybody needs to know. You matter.
They do. They do need to know. So thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's see. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we'll be with Lieutenant Governor John Rogers.
Yes.
And until then, you and I are going to head up to the auditorium and say our goodbyes to Joe Aldsworth, who is
Deputy
retiring.
Fire Chief retiring.
Oh, is he retiring?
Yeah.
Joe is retiring.
Send my
so
love.
We're going to go up there
and my appreciation.
He's a good
and
guy.
visit with him. And and then Jeff is off to City Council, and I am off to Air Street to the Turning Point Center for Open Hearts.
Beautiful.
So join us at either one of those places if you'd like. I think Open Hearts is going to be much better than going to City Council, but that's just my opinion. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.